Today we will learn an overview of photosynthesis. Later we'll go into more detail, but now we're just going to talk generally about how photosynthesis works. Our objectives are to explain the role of pigments in the process of photosynthesis, to describe the role of electron carrier molecules, to identify the reactants and products of photosynthesis. If you can achieve these three things, then we'll have met the objectives of the overview. Let's watch a short video of a narrow beam of light being passed through a triangular piece of glass called a prism. What do you notice when the light passes through the prism? Before it goes through the prism, it's just white. After it goes through the prism, what happens to that light? You notice that the white light separates into different colors. And you may notice that those colors are the same as the colors of the rainbow in the same order: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. This separation of colors occurs because each different wavelength of light, or each different color of light, different colors are different wavelengths, each different wavelength of light refracts or bends a different amount. So the red light bends a different amount than the blue light, and so when they go through the prism, they don't go straight through. They bend and they separate into different colors. So you may be asking, what does this have to do with photosynthesis? And that's a fair question. The lives of nearly every living thing on the surface of Earth are made possible by the sun and the process of photosynthesis. What you see when we shine white light through a prism is the colors violet, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. Or if you learn them the other way around, you can use the name Roy G. Biv: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. The wavelengths we perceive with our eyes are known as the visible spectrum. There are more wavelengths that are contained in light, but the wavelengths that we can see are the visible spectrum of light. Plants gather the sun's energy with light-absorbing molecules called pigments. You may know the word pigment, and you may associate it with colors. So different pigments are associated with different colors. The principal pigment in the plant, in all plants, is chlorophyll. And the two types of chlorophyll found in plants are chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. Chlorophyll in the leaves of plants does not absorb green light well. Instead, the green light reflects off of it. That's why plants look green, or that's why especially the leaves of plants look green, because the chlorophyll absorbs other wavelengths of light and reflects the green light back to where you can see it with your eyes. Plants also contain red and orange pigments, such as carotene, that absorb light in the blue region of the spectrum. Most of the time, the intense green color of chlorophyll overwhelms what we call the accessory pigments, so we don't notice them. We don't notice the accessory pigments because the color of the chlorophyll is so intense. As temperatures drop late in the year, when winter comes, chlorophyll molecules break down first, leaving the reds and oranges of the accessory pigments for everyone to see. This is why leaves change color in the fall, and then, well, really they change color in the fall and sometimes into the winter. Eventually the leaves of deciduous trees tend to fall off in the winter. These beautiful colors that we can see in some parts of the country are the results of this process. The process of the chlorophyll breaking down and leaving the accessory pigments visible. In plants and other photosynthetic organisms, other than one-celled organisms like bacteria, photosynthesis takes place inside organelles called chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are the parts of the cell where chlorophyll undergoes or conducts photosynthesis. What's so special about chlorophyll that makes it important for photosynthesis? Well, because light is a form of energy, any compound that absorbs light is absorbing energy. Chlorophyll absorbs visible light especially well. In addition, when chlorophyll absorbs light, a large fraction of that light energy is transferred directly to electrons in the chlorophyll molecule itself. By raising the energy levels of these electrons, light energy can produce a steady supply of high energy electrons, which is what makes photosynthesis work. We'll look at that in more detail later. For now, know that chlorophyll absorbs light except for green light. Doesn't absorb green light very well. Most of that light energy, or much of that light energy, is transferred to electrons in the chlorophyll molecule, and then those high energy electrons make photosynthesis work. In plants and other photosynthetic eukaryotes, photosynthesis takes place inside the chloroplast. This is the structure of the chloroplast. Chloroplasts contain an abundance of sac-like photosynthetic membranes called thylakoids. Each one of these little sacs is called a thylakoid. Thylakoids are connected to each other and arranged in stacks. You can see the stacks here. The stacks are known as grana. So we have thylakoids that are piled up into stacks the thylakoids are connected together, piled into stacks called grana. Grana is the plural word, granum is singular. So you have a granum here, a granum there. You have many grana throughout the chloroplast. Pigments such as chlorophyll are located in the thylakoid membranes. The membrane is the outer structure of the thylakoid, the part that you see here at the outline, the sac. So there's an inner part of the thylakoid, and then there's the membrane that goes around the thylakoid. Chlorophyll is located in the thylakoid membrane. The fluid portion of the chloroplast outside the thylakoids is known as the stroma. So in a chloroplast, we have, and this wasn't mentioned, but we have two membranes, a double membrane forming the outside of the chloroplast, and then inside the chloroplast we have a fluid called stroma, and then in the stroma we have stacks of thylakoids called grana, and the membranes of those thylakoids contain pigments like chlorophyll.